My name's Jim, I'm 34 years old. I work as an agent in the music industry, touring bands and DJs and live acts. I suppose the first time I realised that I had issues with anxiety or mental health was when I was starting to get into the work I was doing as an agent. I think that's when it became kind of more apparent, let's say. I think I struggled before as a child, but as time went on, pressures went up with work and things like that. It's a funny business. You kind of have to make your mark, and yeah, I was working a lot, traveling a lot. I was out a lot, and yeah, it kind of crept in from there. My first serious panic attack was on a plane coming back from Berlin, and from there, I think I became more aware of the sensations of you are having a panic attack, you feel anxious. And as I became more aware of the symptoms and the things that was happening and became more mindful of it, it happened more. So sort of within a year on from that, I was up to sort of having 3 panic attacks a day, getting on trains, at work, at the weekends. It was very much a case of when I was working, everything was fine. It was a place where I could kind of exist in the present a little bit. And so I overworked because when I wasn't working, I was feeling anxious about things I should be doing. I actually told my boss, first off. I was missing a bit of work here and there, still working, but I wasn't around the office as much. And yeah, I told my boss first actually, and he was super supportive. You know, it's a high pressure environment as well. You know, if there's anyone that's gonna sort of overcook it, it's gonna be your boss when he needs something from you. You know, your clients need something from you, your artists do. And he was super understanding. You know, he was the one that said, go and get some help. There is this out there, you know, look into it, treat it as an illness and do something about it. I think the main thing with receiving treatment was the fact that for a long time, I didn't really realise that it was something that really needed to be addressed in that way. You just kind of got on with it. I mean, initially I went to the doctors. Obviously, you know, it's a super common thing. So there were treatments available. You know, it started out as CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, group sessions, which are tough, but you know, it basically gives you an understanding of what's happening to you physically when you feel anxious, when you worry, if you have panic attacks, and it's being mindful of the symptoms and the triggers. So actually what happens in your body when you feel anxious, things like that, which actually really helps, because when you get under the hood and understand the mechanics of it, it can be explained. It's not this feeling. It's like if you break your arm, you know what you're doing because it's broken. Whereas if you feel anxious or something like that, it's a feeling. So it's like, how do you kind of address that and break it down, which CBT is obviously great for. Exercise, well documented, in terms of alleviating anxiety. So I'd always been a bit of a runner from when I was at school, doing bits and bobs, and yeah, just started getting out running again, and you know, it burnt off steam, and you know, I was sleeping better almost instantly. The runs round the block turned into, you know, 2 hours, 3 hours. So yeah, I mean, from there, got involved with Minds, did some marathons, raised some money. You know, they do an absolutely amazing job there. They've got a great team there, and it kind of combined into my work. That was when I kind of realised that the industry I worked in, once I kind of been there myself, I was identifying in other people that you know, even if they weren't saying it, you know, there's a lot of people living with mental health issues. After speaking with, you know, colleagues I kind of spoken with about this before, people in the same position maybe, we decided to sort of do some events and see what happens. And yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, it really highlighted that people were aware of the issues, and you know, people came together because it was something that's really relevant in the music industry. And it's still going a year later, you know, it's more and more people are getting involved. You know, we're setting the bar higher. We've really tried to hammer home in this business that, you know, we need to end this stigma about mental health and identify things early. We're actually doing a music and mental health week. We're running panels for the industry, talking to people about what could have been there for them to help them at their bad times. And you know, with a real focus on really improving the situation and focusing on the future and looking forward, you know, looking out for each other. It's it can feel really lonely, and no one's alone, you know.